In this video we're going to make a pyramid, and this is kind of a special pyramid. It's not just the pyramid shape. We've got the pyramid here, it's got its lodestone at the top, and when we take this off we can open out our pyramid ready to decorate, and we can put lots of pictures in here. Now, a lot of the pyramids weren't so heavily decorated as the later tombs, but there were still pictures and images, and we can mix it up a bit and make our pyramid really fun and put things inside of it, such as we've got our sarcophagus that we'll be doing in a different video. That could go in there, and close it up again. Put our top on to keep it closed. We're going to need some cardboard, from wrapping or packaging or cereal packets, fine. In fact, that would work really well. We need a pencil and ruler because we're going to need to do some measuring and drawing, scissors and glue, probably white glue because we're going to do quite a bit of sticking, but if you haven't got that, some of this kind of glue would work just as well. Okay, we're going to start off by making the base of our pyramid. Pyramids are square at the bottom and have 4 triangular sides coming up to a point at the top. So I'm going to make the square base to begin with, and I'm going to make mine 18 centimeters by 18 centimeters. And we've got a big advantage with something like a cereal packet because we've already got 2 sides of the square, so we know that that's going to be definitely at a right angle. So I'm going to measure 18 centimeters along here to here, and then 18 centimeters up the side, and now I want to make this parallel, so I use this side to help me keep it at a right angle, 18 centimeters again, and then hopefully this will be 18 centimeters along here, just a tiny little bit out. I've gone a little bit too far up. Okay, so now I can cut out my base. Now I want to make my 4 triangular sides. So I'm going to start off by drawing around my square. I'm going to use this as my template. Get it right lined up in the corner of the other side of the cereal packet. Okay, draw that there. So I've got my square here, and I've made this 18 centimeters wide, so I need to find out where the middle point is. Half of 18 is 9, so I'm going to measure 9 centimeters along the top of my square, mark it here, mark like that, and now I can go from the bottom of the square to that middle point, like that, and the same on the other side, and I know I've got it even. Okay. Now the reason I've done this along this edge here is partly so that the edge doesn't come in the middle of my triangle, my side, but also when I attach that to the base I need to have some tabs that tuck underneath. So I'm going to add under here some extra tabs. They're going to be hidden underneath, but that will fold underneath. I've already got my fold here, fold underneath and stick to the base of my pyramid. So now I'm going to cut this one out. Put that aside a minute, so I should show you how that's going to work. So the tab go underneath. In fact, it's going to go the other way. We're going to bend it back that way so that we've got the inside that we can draw on. Tab's going to go underneath like that, stick under there, and that's one side of our pyramid. Now we need 3 more sides. So I'm going to take my cardboard again, my cereal packet. Now if I turn this around, I can fit another side off of this cardboard box. So I'm going to make sure that I line up that fold at the bottom so that happens. That's in the same place. It's going to have a pencil line on it, but that's okay. We can rub that out afterwards. Hold it really tight, hold it still. Now I can draw around. I can draw around this. And I can cut that one out, and then I take another cereal packet and do the same again. Can do one in that direction, line it up with the fold at the bottom. Whoops, draw around it. You're going to need 2 cereal packets for that. Other way up. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Oh, this one's a smaller cereal packet, it's not going to fit, so I'm going to turn it over. I should be able to get it out of this side. Okay. Okay, so I've got 4 triangles to cut out. Good, we've got 4 triangles, and I need you to keep this cardboard because we're going to use this for the cladding on the outside of the pyramid, and actually we're going to use a little bit of it now to make our little mini pyramid that sits on the top. Before we go sticking any of these bits together, we're going to use one of the triangular sides to make the mini top pyramid. So take a bit of your leftover cardboard, one of the bigger bits, and we're going to use the top of this triangle to make a little pyramid that will sit on the top here. Start off here. Don't start it right up against the side, else you won't go all the way around. You need to start it in a little bit. If you can use a nice big bit of cardboard, it will make sure you fit it in all right. Now just do the top, draw around the top of the triangle like that. You see that? Just got it here. And then line up to the next one, and you're going to do the same. And you want 4 of these because it's got to be another 4-sided pyramid. 1, 2, 3, 4. One more, should just fit in. That's it. Okay, and now we're going to use the ruler to join up the base. So we've got 4 little triangles all attached to each other. Before you cut this out, let's try and make this even. If it's not even, we can tidy it up afterwards. Before you cut it out though, we need to add a tab on so that we can stick it together. I've got space on this side. I'm going to just add one of these tabs so that will go underneath. Okay. I'm going to fold along each of those lines to the corner. That one. Take your time and do this nice and carefully because you want to get the folds in the right place. And don't forget to fold your tab as well. So now I can put that together. I can glue along the tab. That doesn't match up, so don't panic at this stage. That doesn't match up. We're going to glue it together and then trim it down to size. So let's get the glue. Glue along the top of the tab. Plenty of glue so it stays put. Lid back on the glue. And stick that down. Press it nice and hard. Now you've got your mini pyramid. Now I'm just going to, you can see this doesn't quite match up. I'm going to trim. Don't keep going round and round and round until it gets smaller and smaller and smaller. I'm just going to trim down to that corner like that. Just a tiny bit off. I might actually go around the corner. Just be very, very careful how you go about that, because you don't want to, you just don't want to end up with something so small that doesn't work. Okay, so we've got our little mini pyramid that will sit on the top of our bigger pyramid and hold all the sides up when we want it to. I'm going to put that to one side for a minute. We're going to finish off the sides of our pyramid before we stick them on. We're going to stick them on with the blank sides on the inside so we can decorate those, so we can draw pictures. But that means that we're going to see this when it's folded up. So what we're going to do now is we're going to cover this with our stones, and I'm going to show you how we're going to do that. Take the cardboard that you cut off, the spare cardboard left over from making the sides, and what we're going to do is we're going to make the bricks that we stick onto this. So the edges, I'm going to cut this into a strip. You don't have to draw lines to do this. You can do if it makes it easier and you want to. If you think you can manage to cut a reasonably straight line, cut along there. Save that one might be useful. And we're going to make blocks out of this. We're going to chop it into blocks. Pyramids were made out of thousands and thousands of stone blocks that have been cut. I'm going to keep that one as a spare because that might be useful at the top. So we've got our blocks. What I'm going to do is put some glue onto our pyramid. Now you do not need to put it onto the tab. The tab is going underneath, remember. We're going to put it onto our block, onto our pyramid like this. And then when we've got it on our pyramid, we can just stick on our blocks like this. I'll show you what to do with the edge in a minute. Keep them quite close together. You've got to allow a little bit of a gap, but we don't want too much of a gap, else you're just going to see the cereal packet underneath. Let's go up a layer because I'm going to show you how we do this. Go all the way along, and then when you get onto the second layer, start it so that it's hanging over the two blocks like that, a bit like bricks. Now I'm going to use some of the smaller bits and hang them over the edge like that. In fact, I can still see a bit there, so I'm going to use a different one for that. Like that. I'm going to go all the way along. Now they're not sticking down, they're kind of curling up a little bit, and that's fine, because what we're going to do is we're going to put something on top of them to hold them down in a minute. I keep going. going to need some more bricks. The best thing to do is to prepare all your bricks beforehand. Lots of them already lined up so that you're not having to cut them in between. There we go, I'm going to use that little one there now. Do not go around. Remember, don't go over the tab. And these bits at the edge, don't worry about these. We're going to sort those out when everything's dry and stuck down, not moving anymore. We'll cut those off. We'll trim them. There we go. That bit goes in there now. Can use that there. I'm going to go up a layer, doing the same thing again. Like that. You can see it's pretty much covered up. It's a few tiny little bits, but I think that just looks like sand in between them. And I'm going to wipe off a little bit of extra glue there. And you can see that they're overlapping at the back, but when that's dry, we're going to trim down and get rid of that. And just for a short while, I'm going to turn that down on the table that way down. I'm going to put the glue on top of it to give it a bit of weight, just so that it flattens down the bits. And I'm not going to leave that until it's totally dry, because otherwise it'll just end up stuck to the table. But I'm just going to let it flatten out. And now I'm going to do exactly the same to the 3 other sides. So I've got all 4 sides clad in stone. Now the pyramids are dry. I've clad all the pyramid sides and they're all dry. This one's just stuck to the table a little bit, but it's fine. There we go. You can see I've trimmed the edges of 3 of them. I'm just going to show you, using the last one, I'm going to show you how to do that carefully without spoiling the edges of your pyramid. We're going to turn it over. Still a little bit wet, but it'll be okay. Make sure yours is dry before you do this, because it works a lot better. And I'm going to trim from this side so I can see where the edge of my pyramid is and cut away the little extra bits that we've got down the side. Nice and carefully. What you don't want to do is cut your pyramid. Yes, that's what happens when you do it when it's still a little bit wet. Not a good idea. Here we go. One thing that I found when I was doing this cutting and sticking was that it is really helpful if you can try and keep your bricks the same height, because else you get to a point where you've got lots of gaps between them. So if you want to measure them and draw lines, that might help. Or if you want to use something like your ruler to measure, so line it up along the bottom, and that way you're going to have them the same width all the way up. You might want something a little bit thinner than this, but find a way to try and make sure your bricks are all reasonably even, and that will help make sure they're a little bit more consistent when you're sticking them on. Okay, so we now have 4 sides. Ugh, sticking to me. And a base, and we want to stick, the last stage is to stick our 4 sides on, and we want the tab to go underneath and our cladded side to go on the outside. So I'm going to take them one at a time, and actually this kind of glue works really well and very quickly to make sure we've got all the bits together. But the other glue will work too, as long as you hold it together and let it set somewhere. So I'm going to glue along the bottom of the tab, then line up the square so that it is exactly matching with each side, and press down. next row. And now you should have your pyramid like this. And you can take the little mini pyramid that we made earlier and use that to hold your pyramid together. And there you have it. There is your pyramid, and all it needs now is for you to decide how you're going to decorate the walls on the inside and what you plan to put into your pyramid. If you enjoyed this make, please take a look at the other videos, see what else we've been getting up to, what are the things we've been creating. And there are a series of Vlad, Flea activity books as well for the different picture books that all show you how to make lots of different things.